Welcome back to WION World is One. You're watching Speed News with me, Vidur Kathuria. Let's get started. US President Donald Trump says he's considering a range of candidates to replace Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, including some unexpected names. During a meeting with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, Trump said he may go with the standard choice but hinted at alternative options. He also reiterated criticism of Powell for not cutting interest rates faster. Trump confirmed that Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is not interested in the Fed chair role and said he'd like to see Powell replaced, but suggested others are holding him back. Powell's term ends in May. A U.S. District Court has struck down a congressional map redrawn by Texas Republicans, a map that could have given the party 5 additional seats in the U.S. House. The 3-judge panel has ruled that the new boundaries illegally weakened 5 Democratic-leaning districts and cannot be used in the 2026 midterm elections. The decision deals a setback to Texas Republicans who are expected to appeal. The case is now likely headed to the Supreme Court, where a conservative majority will ultimately decide whether the map stands or must be redrawn once again. Jawed Ahmed Siddiqui, chairman of Al-Falah Group, has been remanded to the Enforcement Directorate's custody for 13 days till 1st December by the court. This a day after his arrest in connection with a money laundering case. Siddiqui was taken into custody following a detailed investigation and evidence analysis after searches at Al-Falah Group premises. He is also the founder and managing trustee of Al-Falah University, which came under scrutiny after the busting of a white-collar terror module and the Red Fort blast on November 10th, which claimed 10 lives. Qatar has strongly condemned the explosion near a metro station in New Delhi, which left several people dead and injured. In a statement, Qatar's Ministry of Foreign Affairs reaffirmed its rejection of all forms of violence, terrorism, and criminal acts, regardless of motive. The ministry also extended condolences to the victims' families and the government and people of India, wishing a speedy recovery for the injured. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel is determined to disarm Hamas in Gaza and complete the war on all fronts, following renewed violence in the occupied West Bank. On Tuesday, Palestinian attackers stabbed an Israeli to death and wounded 3 others before being shot by troops. The attack comes amid a surge in settler violence. Officials, including US Secretary of State Marco Rubio, warned the unrest could threaten Gaza's fragile truce. Hamas has rejected a US-backed plan for governing Gaza, even as the UN Security Council voiced support. Lebanon's health ministry says an Israeli strike on a Palestinian refugee camp near the southern city of Sidon has killed at least 11 people and wounded 4 others. State media reports the attack targeted a car in a mosque parking lot in the Al-Helway camp. Officials say the strike was carried out by an Israeli drone. Lebanon's state news agency said the strike targeted both a car and the Khalid bin Al-Walid mosque. Casualties and the full impact of the strike are still being assessed. Hamas denies Israeli claims that it operates military facilities in Palestinian refugee camps in Lebanon. The group called Israeli reported strike on the Ain al-Helway camp a brutal assault and labeled allegations of Hamas training compound as lies. Hamas says the site hit was actually on open sports field where young boys were present at the time. Israel released video footage showing a building being struck, but Hamas insists there are no military installations in Lebanese camps. Ukraine says it will seek nearly $44 billion from Russia for environmental damage linked to the war. The claim is the first of its kind, targeting the increase in climate warming emissions caused by the conflict. It includes emissions from fossil fuels, cement, and steel used in military operations. Spain says it will deliver nearly $946 million in new military aid to Ukraine and will also buy $117.5 million worth of US military equipment. Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez announced the package in Madrid during a joint news conference with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who is touring Europe to strengthen Kyiv's air defense network against Russia's ongoing invasion. American, Polish, and Romanian troops are now training on the US-made Merops drone defense system, technology designed to destroy kamikaze drones using fast, lightweight interceptor drones. Military officials say the Merops system is far cheaper than the Russian-made Shahid drones used against Ukraine, costing roughly 10 times less per unit. The training programs is also quick, taking just 2 weeks for soldiers to become operational. Britain's MI5 has warned lawmakers about Chinese attempts to gather intelligence and influence parliamentary activity. British Security Minister Dan Jarvis has announced a counter-political interference and espionage action plan to protect Parliament from China and other foreign actors. The Chinese embassy in London rejected the claims, calling them pure fabrication and malicious slander, and urged the UK to stop undermining China-UK relations. Beijing says it has lodged formal representations with the British government over the allegations. Peru's President Jose Jerry says the state of emergency in Lima and the port of Callao will be extended as authorities struggle to contain rising crime. The measure in place allows the military to support police patrols and suspends some constitutional rights, including freedom of assembly. Speaking at the opening of a new temporary command center in Callao, Jerry said the extension will help coordinate operations between the armed forces, police, and local security units. Jerry maintains a 58% approval rating, though analysts warn that without clearer results, the emergency could be seen as more symbolic than effective. The United Nations is calling for the immediate release of more than 20 schoolgirls abducted during an attack on a girls' boarding school in northern Nigeria. UN Deputy Spokesperson has said that the incident is a tragic reminder of the urgent need to protect children and schools from violence. The kidnapping happened before dawn on Monday when gunmen scaled the fence at the government girls' comprehensive secondary school. They exchanged fire with police, killed a staff member, and seized the students. Authorities say one girl managed to escape and is now safe, while security forces and local hunters continue searching nearby forests for the others. Thousands of Peruvian miners gathered in Lima for a second day, demanding the extension of temporary permits that allow small-scale mining. The Energy and Mines Commission is set to review the comprehensive mining formalization registry, which expires on December 31st. Miners say they need more time to meet requirements and become formalized. Large legal mining companies oppose the extension, arguing Rainfo has enabled illegal mining under the guise of formalization, highlighting tensions between artisanal miners and the industry. France's Minister for Ecological Transition has warned that over 75 countries have yet to submit their climate action plans under the Paris Agreement. She stressed that global efforts to cut emissions cannot succeed unless every nation takes part. She added that delays threaten the fight against climate change and could undermine the world's ability to limit global warming. Facebook's parent company Meta Platforms has defeated a US government attempt to unwind its acquisitions of Instagram and WhatsApp. A federal judge ruled that Meta does not hold a social media monopoly, giving big tech its first major win against the antitrust crackdown launched during Donald Trump's first term. The ruling is a significant setback for the US Federal Trade Commission, which argued Meta bought both platforms to kill competition. The FTC says it is deeply disappointed and is reviewing its options. Facebook bought Instagram in 2012 and WhatsApp in 2014. The FTC did not seek to block the deals at the time, but sued in 2020, alleging that Meta, then known as Facebook, held a monopoly on US platforms used to share content with friends and family. US President Donald Trump has warned that America risks losing the AI race to China if each state creates its own rules for regulating artificial intelligence. In a post on social media, Trump said overregulation by individual states is threatening the country's AI growth and called for one national standard. He urged lawmakers to include the federal AI rule in the National Defense Authorization Act or pass it as a separate bill, saying it would ensure no country can compete with the US. Trump, who has made winning the AI race a priority, earlier ordered an AI action plan to accelerate innovation and cut regulatory barriers. Meta's Chief Revenue Officer, John Hageman, is leaving the company to launch his own, marking a major leadership shift as Meta doubles down on superintelligence. His role will be taken over by Andrew Bocking, who currently leads Meta's ads product and strategy team. This comes days after reports that Chief AI scientist Yann LeCun is also planning to exit and start his own venture. Meta has been reorganizing its AI initiatives under Superintelligence Labs, with CEO Mark Zuckerberg bringing in Scale AI founder Alexander Wang earlier this year to lead the new effort. Asia-Pacific markets traded mixed on Wednesday, shadowing Wall Street's slide as AI valuation concerns continued to pressure tech stock. Japan's Nikkei 225 reversed earlier losses to rise about 0.5%, with the Topix up 0.55%. The tech sector initially dragged the index lower. South Korea's Kospi slipped, led by declines in Samsung Electronics and SK Hynix. Australia's ASX 200 edged slightly higher, and Hong Kong's Hang Seng and China's CSI 300 posted modest gains. Xiaomi shares fell over 4% after the warning of higher smartphone prices next year. Global sentiment remained soft after US indexes extended their losing streaks and Bitcoin briefly dropped below $90,000. Oil prices fell on Wednesday after industry data showed a sharp build in US crude and fuel inventories, reinforcing concerns that supply continues to outrun demand. Brent crude dipped to about $64.6 a barrel, while the US WTI slid to nearly $60.5. American Petroleum Institute's figures showed US crude stocks jump by more than 4 million barrels last week, with gasoline and distillate inventories also rising. Analysts say that the increases signaled weak demand even as Tuesday's gains were supported by new US sanctions on Russian oil and Ukrainian strikes on energy infrastructure. Strong diesel margins are offering some support, but persistent oversupply is keeping investors cautious ahead of official US inventory data later on Wednesday. Gold held steady as traders weigh mixed signals on US interest rates and stock volatility. With bets on a Fed rate cut diminishing, gold pressure mounts, reflecting its vulnerability as a non-yielding asset when rates remain high. A strong US dollar and cautious Fed remarks have dipped gold from recent peaks, even as longer-term demand remains underpinned by geopolitical risks and central bank buying. Investors are now focused on upcoming US economic data to gauge whether bond yield pressure will ease or intensify. Entertainment news now. Action superstar and producer Dwayne Johnson is set to be honored by the American Black Film Festival at an upcoming ceremony. While Johnson is of Black and Samoan descent, the honor is a nod to his acknowledged heritage and his massive global impact as one of Hollywood's leading box office draws and a successful producer through his company 7 Bucks Productions.
Dwayne, head down.
That's it on this edition of Speed News. News and updates will continue on the other side of the short break. Keep watching WION World is One.